everybody. It's been a while since I've seen you. Actually, it's only been a week. I hope you had the opportunity to hear my husband talk about Resurrection Sunday. It was a blessing to hear him teach that word. Well, I'm your host, Tina Boyle Whyte, and welcome to the Bridge Broadcast Show. If you haven't been here and you don't know me, then that's definitely formally for you. But for those of you who've been walking with me, I'm so excited to be back with you. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in a while, but today I want to come back and to just come back to the place now that we've worked our way through Resurrection Sunday. But he's alive. He's alive, and that's the main thing. That our Savior is a risen Savior and Lord, and I'm just really grateful for that. So we are now rounding out this season, but I'm still really dealing with the soul. And so our show, if you don't know, which is season 2, it's really about dealing with this, the spirit, soul, and body. And if you have not had the chance to be here with me, you would not know that that's what we do. And so what we do is our motto is the Bridge Broadcast Show is the bridge is really a symbolization of transformation. It really is designed to help you get from where you are to where you want and need to be. And my husband said where you ought to be, but it really is a vision from God that really help people transform in the spaces that you're in. And you know what? This is no push. This is I just share the words that is inspired in my heart by the Father to talk about those places that are most important to us. And dealing with the whole person, it really is dealing with the spirit, soul, and body. And so I'm excited to be back with you on today. So I'm not going to put the book up, but it's been the John Maxwell book. What I noticed is when I was looking at how many people look at what I'm doing, people think that I'm promoting the book. I am a John Maxwell mentor, but I'm not promoting the book. I am utilizing, the information to spur thoughts around what we think about and what we deal with as people. And so I'm not gonna raise the book because I don't want that to be in the capture of the picture, but I want to remind you that it is the John Maxwell book, No Limits, Blow the Cap Off Your Capacity. You know what? And I realized that I don't know which show it was. I was just talking to you. Maybe people just want to be talked to. And as a coach and as a pastor, as a teacher and a trainer, I'm here to just talk to you and to help you get over the bridge, to really transform and really make your way through the bridges. I mean, it is really amazing when we think about this life, how we just go through this life and we have the spirit side of us and we have the soul side of us, which is our mind, will, and emotions. And we have to navigate those journeys. These are the two fighting forces that we contend with, the spirit and the body, and they're contending on each side. And our body just responds to the spirit and soul. And literally, as I stand in the middle, here's my spirit and here's my soul. My body is in the middle, and it has to come under the direction of one or the other. And which one, excuse me, I'm reaching down for my book. I was exemplifying the body. But which one will drive you? The spirit, will it drive you, with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, with the guidance of the word of the Lord? Or will your emotions, will your emotions or your flesh, will that drive you into making decisions, to take actions, to do things that maybe you don't want to do? Or maybe, Paul talks about it in the book, he talks about his spirit being willing, but his flesh being weak. Now, is that you? Is that you in a situation where your spirit is willing, your flesh just might be weak? This is why we're talking about this. And so today, I want to talk a little bit about the next part in the book is thinking capacity, your ability to think effectively. And there's so many books out there. These books that we talk about thinking, Think and Grow Rich, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. That's a scripture. But your thinking, I'm telling you, your thinking is so critical to you and where you're going. And so, when I think about this, I think about, I'm just going to jump into the chapter and just have a conversation with you around this whole thinking. And so I'm really excited I'm really excited about this today because he talks about one of the little captions that I see in there. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. Well, what are you talking about? What does that mean? Successful people, you think about in your everyday, what do you think about the choices that we make, or the choices that we have around food, the choices that we have around health, the choices that we have around exercising, the choices that we make? What is our thinking? What is our thinking? Which also drives into what are your beliefs around those things, because your beliefs and your systems of learning has majorly impacted your thinking. So what is your thinking? You know, you're thinking about money, you're thinking about education, you're thinking about your community, you're thinking about family. What are all those things that that play a part in your thinking? And so think about your thinking. Think about it. Yeah, think about your thinking. And so so when you're thinking about thinking, you know, here's some thoughts about some people who had you know, some amazing things to say. And I love it. Thank you, John Maxwell, for, you know, writing these books for me to be able to share with the world, to continue your message, to continue your legacy. So thank you, John. So he talks about, he identifies 5 key people that he mentioned their quotes of. He said, when this is his quote, he says, number 1, when you think about why he thinks thinking is so important, everything begins with a thought. Oh my God, everything begins with a thought. You know, you think about how did a person come to this point? How did a criminal decide to do that? How did something get to that point? It didn't just start in the act. It started at the point that that thought was planted. And so when we think about, you know, the spirit and the soul, you know, you got to guard you said, guard your heart and your mind with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And so when you're thinking it, if you don't have your thoughts into captivity and you allow your thinking to go rampant, you find these things that we see in the news that it's like, where did that come from? That came from a thought. That simply was a thought that was in someone's head. It just doesn't happen. You know, sexual encounters, I have to just put it out there, it just doesn't happen. It starts with a thought, you thinking about that. And so just guard yourself as you're out there. He says this was life consists of what a man is thinking about all day. That's Ralph Waldo I can't even say it, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Thank you. And so that's true. What do you think about all day? You know, they used to say when we were little, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And so, you know, where's your mind? What is you thinking about? What are you opening the doors to? So just be mindful of that. The second thought he said was, what we think determines who we are. Who we are determines what we do. Oh my God. I have to say that one more time. What we think determines who we are. Who we are determines what we do. Have you ever found yourself, you know, thinking about like what you think about, how that determines who you are? Who are you today? At some point you were thinking about something. I had the opportunity to talk with someone, and sometimes we don't know who we are. And so we find ourselves trying to be like others. And Facebook, love you, Facebook, but you know, it's so easy to get lost in Facebook or social media, because we look at a capture of people's lives, and people only capture or chronologue those moments that are like super fabulous or super out there, like I'm having the time of my life. And it's just amazing. I happened to see a video, and they were talking about the video caption. It was over 10 million people had shared this. I'm so excited, I got to calm down. I'm stumbling my words. Over 10 million people had shared this video, and it says, poor mom teaches rich mom a lesson. And so what was that lesson? That lesson was essentially 2 moms was coming out the grocery store, and one mom, the rich mom, walks up to the poor mom and says, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time. The poor mom says, hey, I'm doing fine. And they discovered that their sons were went to high school together. The poor mom's son, he just barely finished high school, but he was navigating his journey. He was working at a record store, a local record store. And the rich mom's son was, had graduated top of the class and, at Stanford and, all the accolades there was. And so when they parted their ways, the rich mom goes to get into the car that she was driving. The son, in the video, showed that the son was driving. So when she gets in the car, the son says, "Mom, where have you been? What took you so long? I don't have time to wait." And it was just rah, 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 rah. It was really bad. After she had just spoke highly of him, she gets in the car and she deals with this son with this horrible attitude. And so, then they show the video on the poor mom. The poor mom had the son, you see somebody walk up to the door with flowers, knock on the door, and she opens up this door and she says, "Hello, son." I can't remember the name in the video. "Hello, son." And you say, "Hi, Mom. I saw these flowers and I was just thinking of you and I just wanted to tell you I love you and I appreciate you." The distinction between the two sons, that is the distinction in character. Like, who are you? Who are you? Who you are, what you think determines who you are. And so where do you fall in that category? Who we are determines what we do. Who we are determines what we do. And so kind of like your thinking and like who you are really defines who that person is that you are at the end of the day. And so what is your thinking? What is your thinking about life? What is your thinking about everything? What is your thinking about how you love people? And so that's the big deal. John Locke, he says, "I have always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts." So when you see people and you see people doing certain things, behaving a certain way, what was it thinking of the mom? She the accolades of her son and the ability to be able to tell, the story, to brag about the story of this child, is great. But then, when she gets in the car, she's dealing with this crummy kid. I mean, he's doing great things, but he's just a cruel, rude, crummy kid that you have to deal with for the rest of your life. And so, that is the actions. What is your action saying? They always said actions speak louder than words. And so what is your action saying? Who are your actions telling people you are? See, it's all about your actions. What you say is one thing, but it is what do you do? When I'm watching you from afar, what are you doing? What is your actions really saying about who you are? And so that's the true story. And so, for those of you who are Christians, it says, what are your actions? People who are non-believers, and I just have to put that out because I hear it all the time. People who don't believe that there's a God, is looking to us as believers to see, what is your action? How are you going to act? And what they're doing, non-believers, I understand it. You're looking for a way for when a believer stumbles up. So you say, "See, I knew there wasn't a God. See, you know what? I don't want to do that because you say one thing and you do another thing." And so, you know what? Christians, we should be epistles. We should be books read of men, really telling the story about our God who is loving us, who has a relationship that is a loving relationship with us. And that's what we should be telling many people. It's about, your actions. And so, what is your action saying? What is the story that you're ringing loudly? What are you saying? When people when you leave the room, what are people saying about you? When you leave the workplace, what are people saying about you? When you leave people's company, what are people saying about you? Are you crummy? And I have to put that out there. And I say that to say, crummy, how is your character? How do you love? What is your love walk like? What are your words demeaning, or are they uplifting? Do you sow into people or do you take from people? I challenge you today to lift up your thinking and your actions and really find yourself in the place where we're walking in the love of God. That's so beautiful. Take it as it is. Evaluate yourself and say, you know what, God, am I representing you or not? Do people see me through you? Or do people see you through me? What do they see? Our God is a loving God. He is an amazing God. Thank you, Father. Point number 3. Our thoughts determine our destiny. Our destiny determines our legacy. So, he says by James Allen, you are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts will take you. Where your thoughts take you. Oh, I have to share that again. Be with me. You are today, I am today, where my thoughts have brought me. Okay, what am I saying? Today, I stand here in this space because of my thoughts. And my thoughts are fused by my words. My world is framed by my words. What I think about comes out through my mouth. So what am I saying? What are you saying, Tina? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What is in your heart? What is in your heart? What is in your heart that drives who you are? And so one of the things that I think about, someone framed it so beautifully for me. They said, when you don't successfully do something, you're not that thing. What I'm saying is, when you pursue in life something and you don't accomplish that thing, you're not a failure. Let me give you a perfect example. I've been working on my PhD for almost 15 years. And I come to a crossroad where I had some major challenges. I came up against a brick wall. And at the end of this road, no one wanted to help me in the academic area to help me cross over that bridge. You know what I could have concluded? I could have concluded that I was a failure, that I was stupid. You name it. There's a whole list, a litany of things that I could have said about myself, but I chose not to. You know what? The door closed on that. I'm not a failure. I'm not any other thing that is not who God says I am. I promise you, though, it is very important to think about it. When you do think about it, everything we plan to do may not be in line with God's will. And so I needed to reevaluate. It's like, was there alignment with what I wanted to do? And strange enough, after all this time, I was going for a PhD, urban education, administrative leadership. I thought I wanted to be a school superintendent. I thought I wanted to be the secretary of education. I thought I wanted to be a principal in a school. That's not it. You know, sometimes we find ourselves chasing dreams and thoughts for whatever reason, and it may not be in alignment. And when it's not in alignment and the door closed, that's not the opportunity to say, I'm a failure. And if I did fail, I'm falling forward. I'm failing forward. And so do you have a place in your life where it could be a place or a playground for shame? Yeah, because that could have been a place of shame. I, started off with many people who got their PhDs, and I won't say many, but quite a few. I was in a cohort of people who, were working on their PhDs, and I didn't accomplish it. But I do remember this. What did I say? I said this when I was starting my PhD. I said, you know what? I don't want to be a professor like that. I want to be a scholar practitioner. And for me, my thinking and my words framed my world. And where am I today? Today, I am living out the fact that I'm a scholar practitioner. I get to practice being a scholar around education, around counseling, around professional development, around personal development. I am practicing what it is that I desire. Now, I didn't confess, even though I had it in my mind. That wasn't the overriding thought. I didn't confess that I wanted to be a certain thing. I did confess. I said, I want professional development. I want to be in front of people's lives. I want to touch people's lives. And where am I today? I'm touching your lives, and thank you for listening and walking with me. You may not let me know you're here, but that's okay. I know you're here. I know you're on the other side of the computer because I know what my purpose is. And it was my thought that drove this thought around me touching people's lives. And what am I doing? I'm touching people's lives. I may not be there with you, touching you physically. And put your hand up too. If you want to touch and agree with me that you're going somewhere, this is a place of touch and agreement. I may not be there with you physically right now, but I may be there very soon. So watch out. My words and my thinking is framing my world. And so where are you trying to go? Where you're trying to go, it is all about your thinking. What is your thinking? What are you drawing into your world? What are you drawing into your life? You know, people say, you know, I put it out there to the universe, but no, it is the God of the universe who allows those things to be. You know, we were created in his image and in his likeness. And when he said, let there be light, there was. And so when he created us, whether you are, you know, a born again believer or not, we're just dominion beings. And when we speak, things happen. Watch your words. Watch your words. What happens when you speak? What are the things that happen when you speak? I guarantee you, some people say, I shouldn't have prayed for that. Watch what you pray for. No. Watch what you think and say, because you are the sum total of your thoughts and your words and your actions, which leads you to where you are today. Where are you today? Are you happy with where you are today? That's what I want to know. Are you happy with where you are today? Are you satisfied? Are you sad? Guess what? You don't have to stay there. See, this is the part of the bridge where I walk you across the bridge. You don't have to stay there. Come on, let me take your hand. What do you want to see different? How do you want to see differently? Starts right here. It says the power of life and death is in your tongue. This little thing right there, there's power. Not to be too graphic with you. There's power in the tongue. So what are you saying? What are you confessing? What is coming out of your mouth? Yeah, it is huge. So think about what you're saying. My thoughts leads to what I say leads to my actions. So your thoughts and your belief system, you begin to say it. You begin to get it, and it gets in your system. See, all that's a development of who you are. So you are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts will take you. Where do you want to go tomorrow? You can change that. You don't have to sit there and cry. You don't have to sit there and be like, I'll never be nothing. No, shut up saying words that are not true. Take those words under captivity. Grab them. No, I'm not going to be that. And I'm casting that out. Are you with me? Do you hear me? Do you understand? Someone just said to me, I said, you got to take your thoughts into captivity. The person said to me, I'm going to need your help. But I had to say to that person, I can't help you take your thoughts. I can tell you things, but until you take active control of your thought life and your word life, you will continue to see. You know, they say insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Well, if I want to do something different, I want to see something different, I got to do something different with my thinking and my speaking. Where are you today? I just want to know, where are you today? What are you doing today? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. I got 2 more points and we're almost done. People who go to the top think differently than others. And I talked about that when we first opened. That's William Arthur Ward. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking. Nothing expands possibility like unleashed imagination. If you can see it, if you can see it, you can attain it. Do you see it? That's the same thing I asked the person. Do you see it? Do you see yourself doing that? And they had to stop and think. No, if you got to stop and think, you don't see it. You got to go fetch for it. Yes, I see it. Yes, I see it. I see myself going around the world, touching people's lives. I see myself making change in lives of people. I see it. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see for yourself today? Today. Woo, I'm excited. We can change the way we think. This is by Paul the Apostle. Thank you, Paul. He says, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report. If there be any virtue, and if there be anything that's praiseworthy, think on these things. Excuse me, I had a nose itch. What are you thinking on? What are you thinking on? I want to give you a moment to think about this. What are you thinking on? I'm so excited. I could just jump up and down. What are you thinking on? What's in here? What's in here? What are you thinking on? What's in here? What do you need to unleash? Oh my God. That's why people do vision boards. What can you imagine? What's possible? What's out there for you? Paul said it. He said it. And as they say today, period. He said it, period. That's it. Done, finale, it, period. What are you thinking on today? Woo! What are you thinking? 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 So I can't tell you this week how to think differently. I'll get with you next week. So let's talk about how you're thinking, how you can shift that thinking. I've given you 5 things that I've talked you through these 5 things. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'm excited. Okay, calm down. All right, so just to recap, everything begins with a thought. What we think determines who we are. Who we are determines what we do. Our thoughts determine our destiny. Our destiny determines our legacy. I didn't ask you what legacy you wanted, but think about that. People who go to the top think differently than others, and we can change the way we think. There is hope. You're not stuck in any situation. There is nothing that you have to be stuck in. You're saying, I've been this way forever and I'll always be. That is the lie from the pit of hell. You can change your life today. You can change and frame your world today. I don't care if it's finances. I don't care if it's a relationship. What are you thinking and saying? What do you want to change? What do you want to change today? Make up in your mind, think about what you want to change, and let's get to some action. Let's see some change. I want to see 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, 6 months, a year from now, a milestone birthday. What do you want to see differently? And I challenge you to write in a journal and tell me what you see. It only happened because you changed your thinking. So I encourage you on today to change your thinking and see a different side of who you are. Well, it's been a blessing. I'm so excited. Just blessed to be before you. God is great and greatly to be praised. And you know what? I'm going to forever lift his name up because he's gracious. His mercy is new every morning. His goodness and mercy is everlasting. It follows me. He never leaves me or forsake me. I thank you that he does that same thing for you. Well, have a blessed week, and I'll see you next week. Remember, you got to change your thinking if you want to see something different. God bless you. Bye now.